Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to recap Insecure Season 3 Episode 4 Highlight. So let's jump into it. Like I mentioned before, I usually come up with different points, plot points within the episode, but today I'm not going to do that because the episode kind of focuses on one event. There are a couple different scenes that happen in the episode, but it's just the one big event, which is Coachella. So let's start from the beginning. Issa and her friends decide to do a girls trip, kind of their last girls trip before Tiffany has her baby. And they decide to go to Coachella to see Beyonce, and I don't blame them. So they're getting ready, and Issa has helped Molly run a whole bunch of errands just to make sure she can come. Molly's on board until she has her, I guess, final meeting with her coworkers and that Darian guy, and she needs to do some kind of briefing thing that he has volunteered to do already. He's going to spend weekend time doing it. Well, that can happen for Molly. She's not going to let that slide, so Molly volunteers to do it. So she's given the task to, I don't know, write that briefing or figure out some more stuff concerning the case she's working on. So when Issa, Tiffany, and Kelly meet up, Issa's like, "Wait, where's Molly?" And they didn't want to break it to her that Molly's not coming. Well, Issa, being Issa, FaceTimes Molly and tells her, like, "Hey girl, come on, I'm gonna make sure that you'll have time to work on this, we'll leave early, everything will be okay." And then Molly kind of gets convinced and says, like, "Okay, fine, we're going." So the trip is back on with 4 girls. The only thing is Molly's going to be arriving on her own. So they get to the nice Airbnb, which is amazing. I can't imagine how much that would cost, but it looked amazing. And so Issa's like ready she's pumped. She's like, "Come on guys, we're gonna get together, we're gonna pre-drink, and then we're gonna go out." I remember them saying that, like, SZA was performing and blah 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 blah, and they're getting hyped. So it looks like it was in the day. Tiffany says, "I'm gonna just take a nap." And it's so funny the way that Kelly's like staring out into the like abyss while she's talking and saying if she lies down, she's not gonna wake up and stuff. And Tiffany is like, "Ah, no, it's okay, it's okay." And Issa, I guess she had gotten ready, and she had went to sleep, and then Kelly's sleeping. So they're all sleeping. And then Molly gets there, so Molly's like, "Okay, time to turn." Everyone is sleeping, so Molly's like, "Great, I'll have time to work on that briefing thing she had to do." So she stayed up all night working on it. And she was so happy that she got it finished, so then she can actually focus on having a great time. It's the next day, and Issa's kind of a little hurt that like Nathan hasn't texted her after their, I don't call it a date, but after the time they had spent together. So Issa is just kind of like, whatever. Until Nathan hits her up and says, like, "Yo, like I'm here. I'm at this party thing. Do you want to come?" So then all of a sudden Issa is like, "Oh, change of plans. We're gonna go to this place." So they go to a day party, which it looks lit as hell. I'm loving the music they're playing in the episode, and they're kind of scoping out, Kelly. She's very man thirsty, and then there you see Nathan. So then everyone was kind of like, "Oh, who's this?" And Molly was like, Oh, I see why we came here. So she introduces Nathan to her girls, and Nathan introduces his friends to them. I don't remember their names. One was black and one was Asian. That's as far as I cared about their characters, to be honest. So then they meet up, and Issa and Nathan... Oh, sorry, before they meet up, Nathan's boy was like, hey Molly, I'm Percocet. Which I thought that joke did not land at all. He said he had Molly with him and like edibles. So he's offering the edibles to the girls, and they're well, I guess the edibles and Molly, and then they were just kind of like, well, if you're gonna do it, like, I'll do it. So then everyone takes Molly, and everyone is feeling the effects in their own way. Everyone except for Tiffany, because she's pointing out time and time and again that she's pregnant, no drugs or anything. So she's completely sober throughout this whole experience until the end. So they're on Molly, they're experiencing in different ways. Kelly is frisky as usual. Issa and Nathan are having a drug-induced conversation, and he starts touching her, and then she was just like, oh, like, do you feel that? Like, oh my god, that feels amazing, and stuff like that. Okay, so then now it's time for them to go to Coachella to see Beyonce. They get their, I guess, their wristbands, and they get checked and searched, and everything is fine. One of the things they realize is that they don't get cell service. But Tiffany has said, like, we need to go and make sure we get as close to Beyonce as possible. So they all go. And Nathan and his friends are still there. I guess they're listening to just the other acts, and the Molly is really starting to kick in, and they decided to also take edibles. So they're kind of high on 2 different types of drug. I don't know how they react together, but they all came out crazy. So Tiffany, I'll try to kind of describe each person's character. Well, not only they're high, but at Coachella. So Tiffany, she is like the mother hen. She's completely sober, so she's able to make sure everything is as discussed or as she wants it to be. So she's all about making sure their spots are saved. So she's talking about using the buddy system. Sorry, not the buddy system. Going to the washroom shifts and things like that. So, and I guess that's her role in Coachella. Kelly, on the other hand, is super high. She's coming off as, I don't know, she's coming off as very, like, drunk, because she's kind of all over the place. She got very hungry, so she got food, and she was getting very loud. And they came back to their spot, and they saw that a couple that happened to be white, they were blocking them. The reason they were blocking them is because the guy had the girl on his shoulders, which is a common thing you'll see at like an EDM concert and stuff like that, but I can understand Kelly's point of view because it is so annoying because you cannot see anything past them. So instead of Kelly maybe going around them or asking them can they move out of the way, she gets very, very talkative and very aggressive and asks the girl, like, hey, like, you need to get down, you've taken our spot and stuff like that. Well, the girl decided to talk back to Kelly and saying things like, oh, this must be your first time, and things like that. Well, Kelly threatened to take her down off of his neck, and I don't think she believed Kelly, but Kelly ended up doing it. And the way that girl fell, I was like, You better pray she's alive. She could have fell head first. She fell, and they started fighting. So we're gonna rewind a little bit so I can describe Molly. Molly is when she's very high, I guess she's very I don't know, she's very friendly, and she's talking a lot about her feelings, which no one is here. She decides no one is here for her talking about her feelings, is what I meant to say. And then she takes off her jacket and she puts it down on the floor to kind of have it as a placeholder for her friends. And she's getting super tired and she wants to sleep. Well, his friend, Nathan's friend, lets her know that, like, you can't go to sleep on Molly or you're gonna pass out. So she's struggling to stay awake, and she ends up leaning on Nathan's Asian friend. So let's fast forward. So now Kelly has dragged this girl down. They start fighting, and Molly and the next girl's fighting. Kelly and the other girl's fighting. It's a mess. It was crazy. Security, I guess I was gonna say campus. The Coachella security came and basically kicked them out. So while that is going on, Issa and Nathan decide to get away from their friends. Issa sees a Ferris wheel and decides that she wants to go on it, not knowing that Nathan is scared of heights. So they're kind of talking and stuff, and they're slowly going up and around the Ferris wheel. Next thing you know, and I can't remember exactly what they were talking about, but I know that they've been talking about, like, why didn't you contact me? Why didn't you contact me? I thought I came across too strong, and Issa likes strong. So they're having that type of conversation. And so they're up in this Ferris wheel, and then all of a sudden it stops. So it stops because it needs a new battery pack, which, like, this is the first time I've ever heard of it. But that's none of my business. And Issa starts kissing Nathan. And I have to say, this was the most, like, sensual and raunchy sex scene that I've seen this season, and I'm here for it. So Issa's, like, kissing him and stuff, and then Issa tells him, like, I want you. So they start having sex in the Ferris wheel, and they didn't use a condom. I don't know if that will matter down the line, but Issa was definitely acting frisky. So anyways, they get it on. They're happy with what went on. Issa gets cell reception from where she is, and she gets a call from Tiffany that they've been kicked out. So Issa tells Nathan, like, I gotta go back because my friends are gonna blame me. So while Issa is figuring out how to go back, let's go back to her friends that were at Coachella. So they're getting kicked out, and Kelly is, like, not here for it. She's like, no way in hell, blah blah blah, and she tries to run back, but she gets tased. She gets tased, first of all, for a very, very long time, so much that she ends up peeing herself. And this whole night has become a hot mess. They all get back to the crib. Molly is typing away at her keyboard, typing nonsense words. Kelly is in the corner making up her face, looking miserable. And Tiffany is just chilling, but I feel like at that point she's really, like, thinking about life. So then Ethan I said Ethan, as in Issa and Nathan. Issa and Nathan end up getting to the Airbnb, and Issa says, I had a great time and everything, but like, I need to be alone. I need to be here for my friends. So he understands and he lets her go. She sees the aftermath of them getting kicked out, and she goes to each person and she apologizes and says, I'm sorry, like, don't blame me, I'm sorry, which I wouldn't blame Issa for anything, because it's not like she left her friend alone by themselves. It was a bunch of them. She did abandon them for a good chunk of time for this man she barely knows, which I think she shouldn't have done that, but that's none of my business. And then they all go to sleep, and then they wake up, and they laugh at it. It was kind of like, you know what, this is an experience. We're crazy, we shouldn't have been taking so much drugs, you know what, it is what it is. Either way, I'm with my friends, I'm having a good time. Tiffany gets thirsty and decides that she wants some water, but there's none in the house. So Issa agrees to go with Tiffany to get some water. So they arrive at the local 7-Eleven, and Issa's in the car, and she's like, hey, do you want to get out or are you going to stay in the car? That's when you had like a very like one-on-one emotional moment with Tiffany, because Tiffany's like, she's thinking about like, I couldn't even really have fun, she did take an edible, and she was crying that she might have hurt her baby or she's a bad mom, that I forgot to mention when they got back to the house, but she's really thinking about this, and she's just like, my life is going to be different now. I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to have these other responsibilities that you guys are not going to have. It's going to be different. And I really understood where she was coming from. I don't have children, but I know some people who've had children, and our friendships are different now, because they have another life to look after. And I understand that, and I don't fault them for it. So I totally understood where Tiffany was coming from. Even when she said, I hope we can remain friends, and I can see you. Which it almost sounded like they were breaking up a friendship, but they weren't. I totally understood where Tiffany was coming from. So Issa goes to get some water in 7-Eleven, and then when I thought he was gone, Issa sees Chad, and Chad goes, oh, hey, Issa. Oh, look who's here. And we see Lawrence. And don't get me wrong, I love Lawrence. Lawrence is so good to look at. But I thought he was in the past. Like, we just got past Fresh Like, where she's gonna start off fresh, new Issa, and then we're going back into her past. It's one thing if she stopped dealing with Daniel, but now Lawrence comes back into her life, and Lawrence conveniently comes back into her life when she's talking and developing a new relationship with this new man, Nathan. So, and by the looks of the next episode, he's here. Lawrence is here. This is not like a guest, like, one-time appearance. So I'm kind of curious to see what the dynamic is now, because they're not together and they've moved on. But yeah, so that's the end of my recap of Insecure Season 3, Episode 4, High Like. I think so. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
I'm just a dumb cunt, fucking sick and tired of it. Maybe I could